So, not a channeled message per se, but I want to talk about MKUltra, the government, and even a little bit with GATE, but specifically MKUltra being a targeted individual and dissociative identity disorder, which is DID, which was formerly known as multiple personalities disorder. And this is not, please do not jump in my comments and say I am spreading bad information. This is in no way me telling people that they have DID or anything of the sort. I am intrigued in the thought that MKUltra in itself was created to break a person down and into trauma. What they wanted to do, and if you actually know, this is, if you're watching this, I'm assuming you have some sort of basic knowledge about MKUltra or even Project Stargate, different types of government programs. What MKUltra was designed to do was to create so much trauma and to create you to be dependent on different types of things because of trauma, to break a person down for their consciousness. If you know what I'm saying, you understand. Dissociative identity disorder. I found this article from, it was, I believe, the 90s, but it was talking about the 70s as well. And at that time, it was known as, I'm going to put the link in my post section if you want to read this article. It's only about 12 pages long. It's a peer-reviewed study of people who can trance channel in a disassociated state versus people who have dissociative personality disorders. So with MKUltra causing tons of trauma, even with the GATE program, and this is where I'm saying use discernment, because I'm not saying because you were in GATE and because you cannot remember your childhood that you have DID, even though dissociative amnesia is a main characteristic of DID. That's not what I'm saying. So please do not skew my words. DID has to form in the brain before the age of 10. And recently I've been learning more about this and trying to understand why they would think, because multiple personality disorder used to be thought of as those separate personalities are almost like separate consciousness. So if a government's objective is to split consciousness and to separate consciousness for people to understand or to take control of their consciousness, because that is what MKUltra was designed for, if you really take everything out of it and understand it truly, traumatizing people in order for them to develop this disorder, for the government to do that is systematic. It's there's not even a word for how disgusting that is to do to your own people, let alone to anyone in general. But the study I was reading is really, really interesting, because when you do dissociate, if you understand what that process feels like, being able to trance channel is very similar to that. So were they creating, this is just, like I said, my own conspiracy theory. The purpose of MKUltra being possibly to create these DID, to create DID in individuals, for one, to look at their separate consciousnesses, because the government and they're so obsessed with consciousness and fragmenting consciousness, separating things related to consciousness. Also with multiple personality disorder, with dissociative identity disorder, the thought of the government wanting to create the perfect Manchurian candidates who are traumatized, who are in a sleeper state, who are then activated or awoken in order to harm themselves or others and not really be aware of what they're doing. That essentially is dissociative amnesia. So while a lot of people who have had these experiences, and I'm talking about people who are truly targeted, who have gone through abuse from early childhood in very, very evil, demonic families, and then who were also known to be gifted and talented and spiritually. I'm talking about having psychic, telepathic, telekinetic gifts. Are you disassociating? And you are, and if you are, or are you channeling? what these people created or were trying to create, I do not believe they were fully understanding what they were doing. But if that is or was their objective, it's extremely awful to do to people, especially young children.